let's talk about that. Who's going to carry the boat, son? If you've read his book, David Goggins, he's got a couple, but I think the one is You Can't Hurt Me or something like that. It's a really good one. Actually, the audiobook is the best version because I don't think he reads it himself, but in between the chapters are like little podcast episodes where he's talking to someone else about the chapter, and it's pretty good stuff. Take him or leave him. During a brutal SEAL evolution, that's what they call the sections where they work on stuff. And this one, if you're a fan of Navy SEAL training culture, I'm into it and have been for years. But there's a particular part they call surf torture, and Goggins wrote he was pushed to his edge. Right, instructors had the class locked in the freezing surf, barely able to breathe in the water, and when most men were collapsing and quitting, Goggins started yelling, "Who's going to carry the boats?" He wasn't necessarily talking to everyone else. He was talking to himself. And then he began to use that as his war cry to sort of trigger him to push deeper when his body said no. Goggins didn't just embrace the pain, he learned to weaponize it. Okay? So, the idea of voluntary hardship isn't about masochism. It's about choosing to struggle on your own terms. So when life forces it on you, you've already trained yourself to work through the chaos, right? So we seek it out before it is imparted on top of us, right? Musashi's well known for essentially putting himself into a homeless situation. Musashi's Japan's greatest swordsman. He lived like a monk, crossed with a mercenary. He often refused food and shelter and comfort. He slept on the ground, in caves, whatever, believing that comfort made the warrior weak. There's even a story that before major duels, he deliberately arrived late, dirty, gross, and exhausted to prove that mastery wasn't about appearance or bravado, but it was about mental preparation in his mindset. See, to Musashi, hardship wasn't a punishment. It was his filter for strength to the world, to teach, to prove to himself that it could be done. So that unbreakable mind is forged in discomfort. Luxury dulls that edge, and hardship sharpens it. That's a really hard thing to do. I struggle with that because life is pretty nice. We have the internet, we have our coffee, and it's hard to look to the difficult things as just training and not just as something to overcome. So this idea that you cannot improve what you ignore, right? So through tools like journaling, Japanese term Nikon, which I'm going to do another podcast about, self-reflection, end of day recaps, after action reports. Aaron and I talk about that all the time on the show. Owning your actions, your reactions, trying to own your own mindset and how your outlook on the world is something you can control and not just something that is a innate reaction. Those are all very important. It's all very important to try to work on those things. So there's a framework you can use if you are looking to do, after action reviews on your day or daily reflection journals or whatever. I love these 3 questions. What did I receive? What did I give? What trouble did I cause? Those are ways to really help build self-awareness. What did I receive? What did I give? And what trouble did I cause? Who helped me? Who did I help? And who did I screw up? Or what did I screw up? Pretty good little filters. I would recommend a very minimal notebook, something like, field notes or whatever, blank. It doesn't have to be super fancy. I personally don't like apps. I like the analog nature of writing something down. I think it really helps me retain things. Anytime I write anything into the computer or the phone or whatever, I immediately forget them. I think it's just, the way I was raised and my Gen X mindset. I'm just not digital first in my brain, I guess. So here's something that we can do. We can, for this, I'll put this in the post. This is something, it's sort of like a mantra you can use, and I will read it out. Your daily self-reflection, self-awareness prompt or reading or whatever. So, warriors don't just train the body, they train the mind. And that starts with reflection, not once a year, not when you burn out, every damn day. Before you go to sleep, ask yourself, what did I give today? What did I receive? What trouble did I cause? These 3 questions come from Nikon. It's a Japanese method of self-reflection used by monks, martial artists. It's not about guilt. It's about awareness, about your ownership of your mindset, okay? Look, in quotes, look. The undisciplined mind forgets. It lies. It justifies. But a warrior who reflects daily becomes sharper, calmer, and more accountable. I don't care if it's a notebook, a voice memo, a scratched up note card on your nightstand. Make a reflection a non-negotiable habit. Because if you don't inspect your mind, you'll never upgrade. Noise is the enemy of clarity. So another thing to work on, strategic disconnection, okay? Cut the digital noise, okay? Cut down on the news consumption, doom scrolling, social comparison, ination, the Instagramming, the TikToking. All that shit is fake. None of that's real. None of that is their real self. It is what has been edited and put in front of you. That includes the news. It includes good news, bad news. It includes looking at your neighbor's garden, okay? Regular digital detox blocks, okay?